A warm welcome to this today's session. In today's session, we'll be seeing what is meant by analysis of variance. In other words, it is also known as ANOVA, right? First of all, why should we study ANOVA, or what is the concept underlying ANOVA? See, the thing is that there could be various variations in a particular data. What I mean to say is that whenever we discuss about certain things like yeah, let us take this example where we are testing the walls manufactured by a particular company. Let's assume that there are some variation, like right. I hope you guys are aware about what could be the variations and how exactly it works. We have seen the variations or how why exactly they happen during our t test and z test, where we used to take mu of the population and mean of the sample, and we used to conclude certain conclusions based on the hypothesis what we were drawing, right? So, in that example, or in that scenario, what we used to assume was that there was one single, beverage manufacturing or beverage filling machine, right? There was only one machine which was responsible for filling of the beverages. That was the example which I gave you in your class. But there could be certain chances like the variation could be of other factors also. What I mean to say is that, see, it need not be that all the outcomes, all the outputs of a factory or all the outputs of a particular process need not be done by one single machinery or one single laborer, right? It could be a process where it involves three machineries. Let's assume that in our valve manufacturing process, right? Valve in the sense that a thing where you use it for the water supply and all, right? To control the water supply, you use valves. Let us assume that there is a manufacturing unit which manufactures valves, right? In this manufacturing process they have got three machines, right? Instead of having one line of one manufacturing line, they have three lines because of high demand, right? Let's assume that there are three lines which has got which are manufacturing walls for for selling it in the market. Now, when we are talking about three machines, right? There are three machines which are working on the process. All the three of them will do the same job, right? All the three machines manufacture walls. Now there could be chances that the variation in output, right? The variation of output could be due to the reasons of the machinery also. For example, one machinery, whatever it is manufacturing, the wall size is little different when compared to two other machineries, correct? Two other machines. This could be one reason why the output mean or the sample mean what we have collected could be different from the population mean. So when we are analyzing such data or when we are analyzing such variances, it becomes very important as to find out where exactly there is a problem, right? If there is a problem with with a particular machinery, you can always replace that machinery or you can fix that machinery. So there could be, what I mean to say is that analysis of variance basically takes into consideration those statistical tools or techniques, which which gives you a brief idea of where exactly is the problem. Especially, it is related when you are dealing with, fewer more data because in our t test and z test we have studied about analysis of mean, right? We testing of mean basically, where we used to test the mean of the sample, keeping in mind the mu or the mean of the entire population. We used to draw certain conclusions. But in case of your t test or z test, what used to happen was that there was one population out of which used to take a single sample, That sample used to, there was no bifurcation in the sample what you were selecting. But there could be also scenarios where there will be certain bifurcation, or there will be certain groups of data which will be there in the problem, or there will be groups of data which will be given to you, based on which we'll be analyzing the variation. Why exactly is there a variation of the sample with regard to your population mean? To do this, we have a technique called, ANOVA deals basically with dealing of such kind of problem. So you might ask me, why not we are taking into consideration the t-test. See, t-test basically takes into consideration the population and the samples alone, one set of sample. Here there'll be various types of sample. Like in the example what I gave you, there could be three machineries which do the same job, and one machinery is operating, but it is not up to the mark, because there is some variation with only one single machinery. So when you want to do a t-test for these three machines, what you will have to do is that you will have to calculate the variances between machine 1 and machine 2, machine 2 and machine 3, and machine 3 and machine 1. This is one part. It becomes tedious for you to do the same process three times. See, if there are some 10 machineries in a particular factory, so it becomes very tedious and it will go on forever, right? You will have to calculate between each and every machine. That is one part. Second part is that when we are considering type 1 error, which means that when null hypothesis is true and you reject the null hypothesis, right? We call something, we have something called as level of significance. We call that as level of significance. See, if there is 5% level of significance in a two-tailed test, we used to break it into two, right? So the same level of significance will be applicable to the entire problem. It is not exactly for a two machineries or one machinery, right? Level of significance applies to all the machineries in a particular problem, which means that this zero point 0.5 or 0.05, sorry, this 0.05 level of significance, you will have to divide it by 3, because there are three times you are doing a t-test, right? So level of significance becomes very less for a particular uh, test. For example, you are testing between 1 and 2, right? You are fitting a t-test for machine 1 and machine 2, and you are trying to check the variance. Now what happens is that if you have 5% level of significance, that 5 has to be divided by 3, which means that you hardly get 0.017% of level of significance for this test. So when this level of significance reduces, there is a high chance that you reject the null hypothesis even though it was true. So there could be certain variations, or there could be certain chances where the analysis what we are doing, or the conclusions what we are drawing, might go wrong. So that is the reason we have something called analysis of variance. Quickly, we'll see what is meant by analysis of variance, and we'll solve one problem on that. So analysis of variance is a collection of statistical models and their associated estimation procedures, such as variation among and between groups. This is very important. Among and between groups. What do you mean by between groups? Like in the example what I gave you, there could be three machineries manufacturing the same product. There could be a variation between machine 1 and machine 2, right? That is called between groups variation. There could be variation among the group, which means that the products or the units whatever machine 1 has produced, there could be more variations in that one single machine itself, right? I hope you guys are understanding this. Machine 1 and machine 2, when you compare both of them, there could be variation. Otherwise, there could be variation among the group, which means that the products or the units or the samples whatever you have taken from machine 1, there could be variation, right? So you will have to check both of them, right? Among group and between group. Used to analyze the difference among means. Okay, ANOVA was developed by statistician Ronald Fisher. So we have four assumptions. You have clubbed 3 and 4. Population are normally distributed. You guys understand what is meant by normal distribution. Population have equal variance. Okay, and samples are normally and independently distributed. These are the assumptions of ANOVA. So how do we calculate total variation? Total variation can be explained by two things. One is sum of squares among groups and sum of squares within groups. MSA or mean sum of squares among group. MSA refers to mean squares of among group. MSA refers to mean square among groups, and MSW refers to mean squares within groups, right? So how do you calculate MSA? MSA is equal to SSA divided by C minus 1. What do you mean by C? Number of groups. And what do you mean by N? Number of observations in the group. So this is a ANOVA table which you will have to keep in mind always when you are solving ANOVA problem. So yes, null hypothesis states that mu1 is equal to mu2 is equal to mu3 and so on. Basically null hypothesis assumes that there is no significant difference between the population means of the groups, right? Null hypothesis assumes that all the means are equal. This is a curve, this bell-shaped curve. This is a representation of that particular null hypothesis, which states that all the means are equal, all the means are the same. There are no effect or there are no differences between the means that you have taken into consideration. What is alternative hypothesis? It states that not all means are same. There could be some deviation between the means what you have taken. For example, there could be one mean that is separate from other means. Mu1 is equal to mu2, but mu2 is not equal to mu3, which means that there is a variation here or there is a deviation here. It need not be a fact, something like this, mu1 is not equal to mu2 is not equal to mu3. All three could also be different, or any one of them can also be different, right? Alternative hypothesis states that any one mu or all the mu's are different, right? At least one mu should be different. That is what is represented by your alternative hypothesis. So how do we interpret the result? Just like our other test, we have a curve here wherein you have a rejection region and you have a acceptance region, right? It is something like a skewed curve where it is skewed towards your right? There are no negative values. So if your value falls in your towards your right to right of your F table value, right? There then you will be rejecting your null hypothesis. If it falls within this region, you will be accepting your null hypothesis. So I've taken one problem. So let us find out if all the three teaching methods are same or is there a significant difference between the teaching methods. So there are three teaching methods M1, M2 and M3. Samples are selected among three methods and the score of students are given below. So they have given us the scores. These are the scores of students. Now we are supposed to find out if we are if we are accepting null hypothesis or rejecting null hypothesis, or we have to conclude if the means of all the three samples are same or not, or the means of the populations, the mu's of the three populations are same or not. So null hypothesis I've stated. I've also stated alternative hypothesis. Alternative hypothesis need not be like this. You can just write it in words that there is significant difference between the mu's with at least one of the population mean. So this is the data what they've given us. Let me let me take the this table to the next slide so that it becomes easy for us to do our calculations. First step is that we'll have to calculate mean. Let's calculate the mean of this in a particular this particular set, this particular column. Let us calculate the mean of machine 1. How do you calculate mean of machine 1? You add all the figures and divide it by number of observations. What is the sum of this entire column? The sum of this entire column divided by 5, which gives you 17. right? 15 plus 18 plus 19 plus 22 plus 11 divided by 5 gives you 17, right? So similarly, mean of M2 is equal to 21. 22 plus 27 plus 18 plus 21 plus 17 divided by 5. Now M3 has got 6 samples. Please keep that in mind. M3 method 3 has got 3 samples. Sorry, 6 samples. I'm sorry, 6 samples. Method 3 has got 6 samples. Yes. So mean of this particular method is equal to 19. Right? I've taken the means. Now I'll add one more row below this. What is the sample size? Sample size is equal to 5. Correct? There are 5 samples that we have collected. Here also there are 5 samples. Here we have 6 samples. Now there is something called as grand mean. What do you mean by grand mean? Grand mean is equal to, I'll write it here, 17 plus 21 plus 19 divided by 3. I'm taking the mean of means. I'm taking the mean of means. Mean of first machine is 17, mean of second machine is 21, mean of third machine is 19. Now I'm adding all the three and I'm dividing it by 3, which gives you 19. Please take down this entire table. Next step is that let's calculate SSA, or sum of squares among the groups. For this, what we'll do is that we'll take uh, we'll have to take the the means of where what we have written it here, right? The means 17, 21 and 19, right? We'll take this and we'll subtract it by grand mean. So let me do it in the next slide maybe. I hope that helps you guys to understand better. Let me insert a table here. N refers to number of samples. SM refers to the mean what we have calculated, right? Mean refers to the sample mean. SM refers to the sample mean what we have calculated. What do you mean by G mean? GM refers to the grand mean. Next will be SM minus GM, and after that we'll have SM minus GM whole to the power of 2. Right. So next it will be yeah, the last column, n into Sm minus Gm whole square. Right. So how many samples have we taken? In the first machine we had taken for 5 samples, second machine 5 samples, third machine 6 samples. Sorry, method teaching method 1, you had taken 5 samples. Teaching method 2, you had 5 samples. Teaching method 3 also, you had 6 samples. Now what is the sample mean you have calculated here? 17, 21, and 19. 21 and 19. What is the grand mean that we have calculated? 17 plus 19, 21 plus 19 is equal to 19. Now, difference between 17 and 19, it is minus 2, 2 and 0. If we square this column Sm minus Gm, we'll get 4, 4 and 0. Now, n into this deviation square. What is n? N is equal to 5. 5 fours are 20 and again are 20 and then 0. Correct? So let me add how much am I getting? I'm getting 40, right? 40 is your SSA. Sum of squares among the groups is equal to 40. Now, I'll have to calculate something called MSA. What is MSA? In this ANOVA table, we have seen what is MSA, which is equal to SSA by C minus 1. What does C refers to? Number of columns. C refers to number of groups or number of columns what we have. Now what I'll do is that I'll add a text box. MSA is equal to SSA divided by uh, n minus 1. Correct? I've written it properly. C minus 1, sorry. It is C minus 1. C is equal to number of columns that we have. So which means that MSA is equal to 40 divided by 2, which is equal to 20. How many columns we have? We have 3 columns, m1, m2 and m3. So 3 minus 1 is 2. So 40 by 2 is equal to 20. So MSA we have calculated. Next, let us go for SSW, sum of squares within the groups. Right? How do we calculate this? Let me add a table here, which will have 9 columns and 7 rows. Right. So closely observe what I'm doing here. I'll take M1 values. What are the values of M1? It was 15, 18, 19, 22, 11. Mean is equal to 17 for this particular machine. Now, what I'll do is that I'll take x minus mean, which means that 15 minus 17. Right? 15 minus 17 is minus 2. 18 minus 17 is 1. 19 minus 17 is 2. 22 minus 17 is 5. And excuse me. So I've taken the this column, right, which is the deviations of deviations of values from the mean of that particular particular sample mean, right? We have sample mean and we are calculating the deviations of each item. Next, let us square it. X minus 17, which is nothing but the mean, whole to the power of 2. Let us square it, right? If we square it, it is 4, 1, 4, 5 5s are 25, and 6 6 are 36. Next, similarly, let us take, before that, let me write down the total of this. Total is equal to 70, if I'm not wrong. You guys will have to calculate it individually and you will have to see if the values are right or wrong. So for machine 2, it is 22, 27, 18, and 21 and 17. Mean we had calculated it as uh, sorry, it's not 19, it is 21 if I'm not wrong, right? Next, let me take the deviations. X minus 21. How did I get x minus 21? X is nothing but the individual values. 21 is the mean. So 1, 6, 18 minus 21 is minus 3, and 21 minus 21 is 0. 17 minus 21 is minus 4, right? So if I square it now, x minus 21 whole to the power of 2, which gives us 1, 36, 9, 0, and 16. So the total of this column total is equal to 62, right? Similarly for machine 3, I'm sorry, method 3, it is uh, method 3 values, right? Method 3 values. Think for this we'll have to have method 3 has got 6 values, right? So the mean of method 3 is equal to 19, right? So now this will be x minus 19. So 24 minus 19 is 5. 19 minus 19 is 0. 16 minus 19 is 3 minus 3. This is 3 uh, minus 4, and 18 minus 19 is minus 1. So let me square it. X minus 19 whole square. It gives us 25. 0, 9, 9, 16. One second, I think 2 twos are 4, and then I'm getting 1. I guess I made a mistake here. Sorry. This will be 16. Right. So the total will be equal to 60. Take a look at this table. Next, I'll write sample variance. How do we calculate sample variance? It is nothing but this t, whatever you would have got, correct? The sum of squares of this variance, 70 divided by n minus 1, right? How many samples are there? There are about 5 samples. So you are 5 minus 1, which gives you 17.5. There are 5 samples, right? Out of 5 samples, you are removing one sample. So this is how we used to this is how we used to solve for the previous one also. Right. So similarly for this, it will be 62 divided by 4, which gives us 15.5. Similarly, for this it will be equal to 60 divided by 5, right? So 60 by 5 is equal to 12. Now let us calculate SSW. SSW is equal to 4 by 13, right? 4 by 13 into 17.5, right? So how did I get 4 by 13, or why did I do 4 by 13? See how many samples are there? There are 5 samples. 5 minus 1 is 4, correct? So that's how I got 4. Now when it comes to 13, so totally how many samples are there? 5 plus 5 plus 6, which means 16 samples are there, right? 16 minus 3 gives you 13. Why minus 3? Because there are there are 3 columns, right? There are 3 columns. See, for every, or you can also take it, or you can actually take it like this. There are 5 samples here. We usually take n minus 1, right? So n minus 1 for this one is equal to 4, plus n minus 1 for method 2 is equal to 4, n minus 1 for method 3 is equal to 5. So 5 plus 3 plus 3, right? So you are getting yes, you are getting 13. Also, the same thing I've written it in your uh, table, where there you are taking your degrees of freedom to be n minus c. So 4 plus 4 plus 5, which gives you 8 plus pi, which is equal to 13, right? Here there are 5 samples. 5 minus 1 is 4. Here again you have 5, 5 minus 1 is 4. So here you have 5, 6, 6 minus 1 is 5. So 5 plus 4 gives you 13. So 4, which is of the first machine, divided by 13, the total of all the values, I mean total of number of observations into 17.5. How did we get 17.5? This value, right? I hope this is clear. So next, similarly for this, it will be 4 by 13 into 15.5. 4 by 13 into 15.5, which gives us, which gives us 4.7, 77. So similarly for this, it will be 5 by 13 into 12, which is equal to 4.61. I'll add one more row below this, which is called, yes, let us calculate the sum of all the SSWs, which is nothing but your MSW. Let us calculate the MSW now. So your MSW is equal to, it comes somewhere around 14.76, right? Right. Your total MSW is equal to 14.76. I've taken the sum of all these three values, 1, 2, 3. So 14.76 you have got. So let us calculate the, uh, let me calculate the F value. F is equal to SSA plus, sorry, SSA plus SSW, which is equal to, yeah, it is SSA plus SSW, or the if I mean the total variance. Let me write down the total variance is equal to SSA plus SSW, right? Otherwise, how do we calculate the F value? F value, calculation of F value. It is MSA divided by MSW. Like I mentioned in this ANOVA table, so it is MSA divided by MSW. So sum of squares is equal to SST, right? SSA plus SSW gives you SST, and F value basically is equal to MSA by MSW. Let me calculate this. It is equal to 20 divided by 14.76, which gives me 1.36. Now, now let us go to the table. Right, I have downloaded a table for you guys. So what is the total degrees of freedom we have? Right, total degrees of freedom is equal to, let us go back to the ANOVA table, what we had written it down, right? The degrees of freedom is equal to n minus 1, right? How many observations are there? Basically, there are about 10 plus 6, 16 observations, out of which if you take out one, it is 15 observations, right? For 15 degrees of freedom, right? For 15 degrees of freedom, and uh, see, if you closely observe this table, it says F for F distribution. When it comes to ANOVA, it is F for F distribution with 0.05 degrees of freedom, right? That to right tile. This is called right tile. Now, how does this table look like? It states degrees of freedom for numerator and degrees of freedom for denominator. So here, which is the numerator? Numerator is your MSA, right? For MSA, what is the degrees of freedom? It is C minus 1, which is 2. Correct? How many columns are there? 3 columns are there. 3 minus 1 is 2. And for MSW, it is N minus C. How many observations are there? There are totally 5 plus 5 plus 6, which means there are 16 observations, out of which if you take out 3 observations, 3 is the number of columns. So 13 will be your degrees of freedom for your denominator. For numerator, it is 2 and denominator, it is 13. So 2 and 13. 2 and 13, it comes somewhere here. It is 3.74. Sorry, 3.81. 3.81 will be your table value. What I'll do is that I'll copy the same thing. So the F stat or F stat is equal to 1.36, and if the table value is equal to, how much was it? For 2 and 13, which is 3.81. 3.81 will be your value here, right? So your stat falls somewhere here. Let me write it down for you guys. Let us assume it falls somewhere here. So which means that it is falling in your acceptance region. So what is the conclusion? Accept H not, which states that the all the means are equal. All the means are equal. So you can conclude it by stating that the means of all the teaching methods are equal. There is no significant difference. Okay, let me write it like this. There is no So you can write something like this, right? So this is how you will be solving ANOVA. This is also called one-way ANOVA. So this is there in your syllabus. They have not solved any problems in the textbook, but to be on a safer side, I have solved this. So there's one more thing called two-way ANOVA, which is out of your syllabus and it is little more complicated. So please go through this entire video and let me know your feedback, or if you have any doubts or if you have any clarifications, you can always reach out to me. Right? Thank you all.